Well, after months of waiting, Ag Secretary Perdue welcomes 2 new leaders to the USDA, including Steve Censky, who takes up the mantle of Deputy Secretary. Sarah Mock has more on the man who will handle the day-to-day operations for the entire Department of Agriculture.
Steve Censky comes home to the USDA this week to fill the department's number 2 role. But first he made a stop at another previous employer, the U.S. Senate, where he earned praise for his prior service.
I always watched with great interest how he handled what was a very difficult economic time in agriculture, a time of great crisis, with great patience, diplomacy, empathy, and knowledge, and helped shape policies that made agriculture at that time more survivable for our farmers and ranchers in South Dakota and across the country.
Censky grew up on a farm in Minnesota and attended South Dakota State University. He then spent 23 years as head of the soybean growers trade group, which Perdue thinks is an excellent primer for his new role.
The board of the American Soybean Association has 48 members. These are farmer grower producers. And I told Steve that anyone who could manage and herd a group of 48 farmers together for 20 years, I think he could do really well at the USDA.
The secretary went on to describe the position Censky is taking on.
We are fortunate to have him as our deputy secretary. You know that role is primarily one that deals with the operations and the innards of the USDA, keeping the trains running on time and the people fed on time and the farmers paid on time in that regard. And he'll be working with many of you in that role. And I think you will find a very quiet, humble leader who is easy to talk to and easy to listen to.
Censky says he will focus on improving customer service and facing the many challenges currently before the department, including immediate help with disaster recovery. He also emphasized his support for U.S. ag trade and his new colleague, Ted McKinney, who will lead the USDA's trade team.
The emphasis on opening markets has been near and dear to my heart during my career, both at the Foreign Agriculture Service and then at the American Soybean Association. I know I work directly on those issues. I look forward to supporting Ted, and that's going to be Ted's area, and I know that he's going to do a great job, and I look forward to supporting him in any way that I can.
Ron Moore, president of the American Soybean Association, said in a statement that his organization has, quote, mixed emotions. Steve will be able to take his 20-plus years of ag experience and use it to help farmers all across the country. But ASA is sad to lose his leadership. For RFD-TV, I'm Sarah Mock in Washington.
Now that Censky has been sworn in, the American Soybean Association begins their search for the next chief executive officer. While ASA President Ron Moore says the change is bittersweet, the organization will continue to move forward until a new leader is found.